As a society, we are not aware that the cause of trauma, emotional pain, and suffering is simply a deficit of knowledge. My name is Anna Imagination. I am founder and owner of The Healing Garden. On this particular presentation, we're going to be talking about my upcoming seminar on April 18th, presenting by The Healing Garden the Narcissist Empath series. This is part one of many upcoming subjects on narcissist and empath. In this particular case, this is the narcissist and the empath, the script, the stage, and the players. Who is this for? This is for people who identify or suspect they are empaths. This is for anyone who's ever wondered, done the research, and said, am I an empath? Even maybe right now you're asking if you're an empath. It is for anybody who identifies as that. For people who feel they often attract narcissists. And if you are an empath, yes, you attract narcissists. We're going to cover how. This is for people who struggle with the narcissist empath cycle. And it's for people who suspect that they are or ever have been abused by a narcissist. The purpose of this presentation is to educate you on a common but severe problem hidden in our subconscious that is solely responsible for 95% of the emotional pain and suffering, obstacles, and challenges in our lives. That statistics comes from the CDC and NIM. I promise you a full understanding before this video is over of what is taking place during the narcissist empath exchange. You will have a clear solution to break the cycle and prevent re-traumatization. You will have the tools and steps to begin healing from the enslavement of a narcissist. But first, does this sound like you? Do you find yourself often identifying as an empath? Do you find yourself attracting narcissist after narcissist? Do you gain pleasure from giving and serving, only to find the person you helped out or served took advantage of your generosity and does not reciprocate? When you're not in a relationship, do you have an overwhelming urge to go find another partner? Do you often feel like without a partner, you're not capable of succeeding on your own? Well, great news. The real problem is that you're unaware of the 5 core elements inside of you that have been neglected and left without management for most of your life. Once this video ends, you will have the information required to end your narcissistic dating cycle, wisely select healthy, generous people to surround you, and you'll have the skills to masterfully use and apply boundaries to protect yourself. The question is, are you going to stay where you are, stuck in old habits that feed and enable a toxic codependency between you and the narcissist? Or are you going to learn and apply the knowledge in this video to rebuild the life you want, free of the toxic control of a narcissist? So who am I? I am Anna Imagination. I studied psychology, philosophy, and sociology for 27 years. And 7 years ago, I picked up meditation, yoga, and Tai Chi, as well as Buddhism and Hinduism. And now I am studying bioenergetics. I overcame substantial trauma, then rewrote the book on mental health, subconscious discipline, and mental recovery, applied it to myself, healed myself in record time. I then compiled everything I learned about mental health and crammed it into the Healing Garden so that the others can find their way out of the darkness. At the Healing Garden, we have several missions. We are in a mental health crisis in this country. We seek to educate, guide, heal, and maintain mental health. We want to provide people with a superior alternative to resolve and manage mental health in the United States than what is currently available. We seek to pull out the textbooks of psychologists, condense this information down into layman terms so that the common man can do it themselves and implement it mainstream. These are life skills. This is not information that should ever be held away from the public and hoarded by a therapist. Everyone needs these skills. We seek to restructure the way we approach mental health trauma recovery, and wellness by changing the way we approach the subconscious mind and mental health in the United States. So, let's get started. We have 5 steps through our program. The first one focuses on changing your mind. Many people are in a possess mindset. If you want to attract something, if you want something, then you must shift to an accept mindset. You cannot have both. Emotions are born from thought. They are a direct consequence of thought. If you can control what you think, then you can control what you feel. During the seminar, we dive deep into this topic and provide structure and direction so that you can shift from that possess mindset, what you have, to what you can receive through that accept mindset. The second stage is emotional management plan. This is vital to proceeding with the program. We are taught in our society that emotions are unwanted, evil, and bad. We are taught and conditioned at a young age to shun them, suppress them, avoid them. And in some unfortunate cases, many of us were abused and punished for having emotions. Step 2 teaches you how to identify and use your emotions to your advantage. You hear a lot about emotional IQs. This is where you learn it. Most people are unaware of the purpose of emotions and how they can be used to help us locate our misinformed beliefs to make fully informed assessments and decisions on a situation. During the seminar, we take time out to look deep into emotional cues and what directions are best to take. At the Healing Garden, we teach you how to get an emotional IQ so you can use emotions to your advantage as tools instead of being tugged around and led by them. The Warshak print perspective is the core of the Healing Garden. This information here is so vital, so valuable that we tell everybody for free. We teach this here right now. It is that important. Step 3 is the power formula of the Healing Garden. Here you learn about the 5 elements of self identity. They are your ethics and your beliefs, your actions or your behavior, your voice, and those 4 things, when combined, create your perspective. When the 5 elements are misaligned, if somebody comes along and takes something away from you, alters them from an outside source, when 2 or more elements contradict each other, the emotion, cognitive dissonance creates discomfort, and left unresolved, it becomes emotional pain that can last for decades. So I'm going to break this down right now for you. The 5 elements of self identity, ethics, and beliefs are what makes up a person's direction. When a narcissist gaslights you, they attack your beliefs. They supplant your beliefs with their own. In some cases, if you use your actions or your voice to object, they will then use their voice to tell you that you're wrong, which is attacking your perspective. They will then go after you and say, that's not how it happened. That's not what took place. You're remembering it wrong. That isn't what I did. Those gaslighting terms are attacking your perspective, and it creates confusion because then you start thinking in the back of your mind, it didn't happen that way because you trust the narcissist. So you start to get confusion. Confusion is cognitive dissonance. Confusion is the emotion you feel when someone attacks your 5 elements. If they go after your perspective or your beliefs, it completely causes that misalignment, and misalignment creates the emotion confusion because you start to think and adopt beliefs. There's that thought that then alter your current perspective. So the emotion, confusion, is a result. That misalignment leaves you open and vulnerable for the narcissist to then tell you that whatever reality they want is now in place. So you now have a supplanted perspective that reflects your abuser and not yourself or the truth. This is how narcissism works. Empaths are their primary target. So when the five elements are misaligned, when two or more elements contradict each other, the emotion cognitive dissonance creates discomfort, confusion, and left unresolved becomes emotional pain that can last for decades. I will be covering the pain, discomfort, trauma scale during the session. Really important information. It's absolutely vital. It's just wonderful information that enhances this. I cannot tell you enough how much the Healing Garden just digs right into this. The old way of doing things is through insurance regulated talk therapy. Traditional therapists focus on resolving only the symptoms of cognitive dissonance, which is your mental illness, while leaving the contradiction between our five elements unaddressed. Focusing on the traumatic events that cause the cognitive dissonance often worsens a person's mental disposition. You're focusing on things that are negative. It's going to bring you down. It's going to cause, in some cases, re traumatization because you are forcefully reliving traumatic situations without actually addressing the core problem, what they did to you, which was distort your cognitive dissonance. We don't know it. A lot of people don't know it yet, but we are very protective of our cognitive dissonance and our perspective. And our bodies, our mental health, our minds are screaming at us that there is something wrong. Fix it. But we haven't learned the language and we haven't learned how to communicate with our subconscious. So we are missing the message. At the Healing Garden, we have figured this out and we are teaching everybody. That horrific uncomfortable feeling where every day you wake up and you feel empty and lost, that is cognitive dissonance. That is your subconscious communicating to you saying, hey, I'm hurt, I'm broken, my five identity pieces have been misaligned by an abuser, and I can't form my own perspective. Please help. That is what pain is. That is why we hurt. By focusing on the traumatic events with a talk therapist, this often worsens our mental disposition because we are just exposing ourselves to that re traumatization over and over again. And we're not addressing the actual problem that our subconscious is telling us. It's the cognitive dissonance. So at the Healing Garden, we focus instead on correcting the cognitive dissonance and locating the contradiction within the five elements of self identity. This decreases and over time ends emotional pain and trauma. By strategically utilizing knowledge, awareness, and cognitive behavioral therapy with meditation and self care, the elemental alignment is restored and the cognitive dissonance ends. Now, I will be the first to tell you, you might have to make many passes with a Rorschach print perspective. It's not going to go through one time and you're cured. It doesn't work that way. Every misalignment has to go through the Rorschach print perspective. Every one of them. For every time you were abused, you have to put it through the system. But now you have the system. The fourth stage is restoring with self care. The Rorschach print perspective is it takes its toll. It absolutely takes its number on your mental and your physical being. As a result, if you run through the Rorschach print over and over again, it's going to burn you out. So we have created the self-care regimen, which in the Healing Garden, this self-care regimen is more important than the Rorschach print perspective. This is heavy. When you have your self-care, you can nurture yourself and soothe yourself back to health. You can rest up. It's like going into a gym and you're pumping and lifting weights and it's shredding your muscles and you never take a rest. And you rip your tendons, but you just keep lifting. And you shred your muscles, but you just keep lifting. You dislocate your shoulder and you just keep lifting. That is what people do with the Rorschach print and in talk therapy if you do not have a self-care regimen. So, correcting the alignment to resolve cognitive dissonance is a mental discipline that requires a lot of internal work and energy. Without the appropriate balance of self compassion and self care following an alignment, burnout is likely. In step 4, we teach you how to design, build, implement, and prioritize your self care regimen so you can reset during pitfalls, prevent burnout, and reignite your passion and motivation for restoring your alignment. The next stage is to assess and evaluate. When you have the skill to switch perspectives, you gain the ability to examine situations in a new light. You can challenge your own thinking and ask the question, what if the situation is not what it seems? It is this new mindset that frees you from the narcissistic abuse. It protects you and your 5 elements from outside abusers. It presents a secure, confident version of yourself that restores your self esteem. It is this level of self awareness that is what most people desire in themselves and others. One of the most absolutely beautiful things about this program is confidence and self esteem are natural consequences to practicing the Warshak print perspective and our self care regimen. Once you have your new perspective in place, you are ready to use emotional discomfort to locate your next misalignment that is in need of correction. By repeating this process, you make a series of shifts, dropping old habits and replacing new, healthy habits that fuel your new mindset and build the version of your ideal self. Better than habits, you can cherry pick traits and personality characteristics. You can literally groom yourself into whatever kind of a person you really truly want to be. We also have a self identity program that we offer where you can dig in and find your true self if that is something you struggle with. For a bonus, we also offer from our Masterclass for Couples seminar the 5 elements of self identity and how it merges with another person. So if you do have a husband, wife, partner of any kind, and you want to know how you react and how this affects a relationship, we have a seminar for that. But we're going to go ahead and give you that bonus right here, right now, and it will also be embellished in the Narcissistic Empath seminar. The 5 elements of self identity is in every one of us. When two people come together to form a relationship, they bring their 5 elements of self identity with them. So I will be digging deep into all the ways the separate 5 elements of self identity go in on to influence, enhance, or poison and alter the other person, and how you can catch the misalignment and correct it. So, today I promised a full understanding of what is taking place during the narcissistic empath exchange, a clear solution to break the cycle and prevent re traumatization, the tools and steps to begin healing from the enslavement of a narcissist, and you have now what you need to win. Change your mind, the emotional management plan, the Rorschach print perspective. You can see this video if you want to go back and rewatch it. It's available on my website, www.anashealinggarden.org, that you can go back and read more about the Rorschach print perspective. Restore with self-care regimen, and then learn how to assess and evaluate. So now you have a choice. You can claim your change, stop attracting narcissist after narcissist, once and for all put an end to your narcissistic empath cycle. Start repairing the damage done by the narcissists you have known in your life. Prioritize yourself and mental health above those who seek to use you. So, if you want to learn more, if you do want to join us on April 18th, get your tickets. There's a link below for the Narcissist and the Empath script, stage, and player, where we will be covering all of this and spending at least 2 hours diving deep into it. I do have a third hour planned if it's needed, but 2 hours is slotted right away for it. If you want to learn more about me, again, I am at www.annashealinggarden.org. Inside this particular session, you're going to have the information required to end the narcissistic dating cycle. You will be able to wisely select healthy, generous people to surround you. You will have eliminated the need to have a partner to feel complete and have the skills to skillfully use and apply boundaries to protect yourself. Again, that's the Healing Garden with the Narcissistic and the Empath script, stage, and players. Get your tickets now, and thank you so much for joining me.